So hello everyone. I've already told you guys that I'll be coming live more often, and I'll be doing a lot of videos because now that I'm doing gradually better after I've gone through my day, it's now time to like talk a lot on this channel and share some of my opinions and those of others as well. Um, we can all be so formal all the time on this channel. And so that's why I decided, hey, after all my meetings today and after all the work today and all that, I needed to just come and talk to my YouTube subscribers. And so, yeah, please share this live, subscribe to this channel, comment, like, whatever it is. Let us just get everything rolling. So, thank you for tuning in. This is a very interesting topic, okay? Because I've been asked a lot. Why do you think other countries, African countries, West African countries nearby our beautiful Liberia, why is it doing better than others? And then the question I often ask is, what? How do you define better? What do you think is better? Okay, and so I would like to include other to talk about why are other countries doing much better. So we have somebody who wants to join us to have this discussion, and we can move on from there. Hello, 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 Liberian TV CEO Jefferson Saba.
Hello, how you doing? Zawadi, the troublemaker.
I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be alive. I'm really blessed to be alive. Yes.
Okay,
How are you?
I am doing great. I'm just sitting here in my car. I want to do this quick because the topic that you have, I think that's a very interesting topics, and I just want to be a part of it.
Oh, excellent. Thank you for joining my channel here. Okay. So, I mean, this is an interesting topic too because I'm always asked, okay, and this is typically questions from our own Liberian community and even some of my colleagues. But we all know they say Ghana Americans say the boni ratting. So that means everyone's gonna always say the country's better, right? So when some outside colleagues are asking me, hey, Ghana is this place is this. Is it better than Liberia? I know that they're speaking from their country's perspective, but then when you go to Liberians and they're asking why are other countries better than Liberia, you have to ask yourself, what does better look like? So I have my own definition of what that is. I would like to hear from you. Why do you think other countries are doing better, and how do you really define that anyway?
I think, to be honest with you, let me start with this, and I don't want to offend any Liberian. I'm a Liberian myself, and we all Liberia, but we have to be honest. At some point, we have to really give credit to the countries. Liberia is trying, but to be honest with you, we don't want try right now. We want Liberia doing better. We want Liberia. Is competing with other countries. Liberia have maybe the billions-dollar budget to build this bridge, to build this new building. So I think those countries are doing really good job, and the reason they are doing good job because the first thing they started with, from my point of view, let's just say this, and I'm not speaking this on behalf of Liberian TV network. I'm speaking on this on my from my own point of view as an individual. I think the reason those countries are doing well is because the first thing they focus on the basic stuff. For example,
Mm,
sanitation,
mm,
running water,
mm,
electricity, road
mm.
network. If you check out some of the projects that Ghana government is working on right now, you see that they're building bridges. I mean, modern bridges, not building little bridge or I'm not specifically directing this to anybody, but building little park or doing this little thing. They are building something really big. But first, they started with the basic stuff. Like, for example, country like Rwanda, they started with cleaning their city, and every time foreigner visited, the first time the foreigner visited their country, they took picture. The cleanest city in Africa. From
Mm.
there, they started getting known, and many people wanted to go there. I think our problem, to be honest with you, and a lot of people that watch my channel, they know that I always promote Liberia. But we have to be honest. Our problem is, one, is the sanitation. Two, we don't have good roads. When people go to Monrovia, they just stay in Monrovia. Three, I think some people tell me that electricity Even electricity in the country is not compared to Ghana or other places when it comes to street lights and how things are structured in the countries. So I think the countries are doing better because they took care of their basic stuff first, which has to do with the basic thing, the sanitation, clean running water, electricity. Those are the basic things they took care of first. But Liberia, many people go to Liberia, they complain about electricity, about sanitation in Monrovia. People, I think certain time I read something where somebody graded Monrovia was one of the dirtiest city in Africa. Instead of us saying the cleanest city in Africa, we are getting these bad titles, and even our airports the wrong way because of our wrong way many plane. I think the airline cancer. Even our sports stadium, because we were not taking care of things. How will you, if you're getting all these bad critiques, how do you think people will come to you? And you know,
Hmm.
Emma, you are out here, city, major cities, they take care of they clean their trash, they got rules and regulations. But I don't want to go too much, take over the interview. But I think, yeah, the country, but to be honest with you, Ghana, you see all these celebrities, African American superstar, they are going there. That should be Liberia. If you read the history of Africa, that should be Liberia. Because Liberia was founded by blacks from America. And today, when you see all these big basketball players going there, I know somebody may say, well, we don't want them to come to us. Yeah, we want them to come to you because they will go there and spend millions of dollars in your.
Ah, go ahead, please. I'm only laughing because you said yes. You want us
Yeah,
to come to you.
yeah,
Yeah.
you want them to come to you because you see every time Gabrielle Union, let's just say Gabrielle Union and her husband just went to Ghana. Do you know how they will pay for the best hotel? Even if
Mhm.
that's even if that company is sponsoring them, that company will pay for the best hotel, and there will be
Mhm.
service. People they will pay people money, a lot of money to do that. They will tip Ghanaians, and so the idea when they go there, they will spend extra money. They will take care of the non-profit organizations there, the orphanage and other things. And this thing bring opportunity. And but besides all of that, they will post on their social media. I'm in Ghana.
Mhm.
Look at how
Mhm.
beautiful Ghana is. We are
Mhm.
home again. We are in the motherland. This
Mhm.
thing promote your country, but how can you do? I work in the entertainment area here, and when you say Liberia, sometimes people really don't know because
Right.
the main focus is on Ghana, and it's really disappointing me a lot because if you wanted to take somebody to Liberia, how can you do that when you see the sanitation there is bad? When you see there's no clean running water, there's no good electricity. I mean, I promote Liberia. I don't want to make Liberia look bad, but we have to face the truth. We got to really talk about that. How can we make this work? How can countries like Ghana that got their independence in the 60s, 50s, the 60s, came from behind and now they are leading Africa. And we always talk about war, but the war been over for more than I think 15 or to 20 years now. And we are still blaming the war. Okay, there was war. Ghana was in war. How about Rwanda that lost more than 800,000 people, more than Liberia, and we still blaming things on war. So for me, I think these countries are doing better because they are working together. They all have their political issues and they have their political issue, but at the same time, there come a time where they put a political issue aside and work together. And people like you know, you are trying to do great stuff in Liberia. Government officials need to reach out to you and really encourage you and other Liberians. I mean, that's how Ghanaians, Nigerians do it. Ghanaians mostly, they build things when the government see them doing something, they try to support them somehow. So yeah, Emma, to be honest with you, yes, those countries,
I like the passion in your voice,
yeah,
Jefferson. Because most of your points I agree, right?
yeah.
Um, the issue of sanitation, I think I shared this recently. The moment you decide to take somebody to our country, okay,
Hmm.
the first thing is, let's say we are driving 5 minutes away from the house,
Yeah,
and this person now needs to use the restroom. Where do they go?
yeah.
Where do they go? Are they going to go to businesses that have decent restrooms for them to use? So then my question is, who's responsible for that? Is it the
Well,
business owner or is it the government to come and install toilet in your restaurant?
but you see, they say leaders lead by example. First of all, if you first start with certain things like sanitation, the city start sanitation system in Monrovia, where there are rules. Like just say, for example, we can start little before these, even the restroom situation. For example, if there are rules that says that if we see trash in front of your building, we will fine you. If you, as a building, you need to provide these kind of services to make it certified, so that we can certify your business. So all of these things can really make businesses um change. Like if they start talking about sanitation, cleanliness, and all of this, I mean, people will. You can go to a gas station and say, "Oh, I want to use the restroom." They say, "No restroom," but go behind that house and do your thing. I mean, it doesn't really, it won't make sense. But once we start doing this sanitation thing, I would say these businesses are responsible, but we haven't educated people about these things.
Yeah,
Businesses are responsible. Yeah,
in addition to education, right?
yeah,
In
yeah,
addition to education,
yeah.
businesses are responsible, but they need to be in collaboration with regulatory bodies.
That's what
And
I'm.
if
Yeah,
the regulatory bodies are not implementing any of these so-called regulations, the
yeah.
business will do anything. So, for example, you have inspectors.
Hmm.
If they had a system
Yeah,
where inspectors will go to your business and say, if you don't have this, and that, your business is what deemed you're disqualified, okay, from even running your business, and you're going to get shut down. But
yeah,
what's happening is the lack of accountability and the lack of these systems following through, or perhaps there are just no systems in
yeah,
place for this. So businesses don't even feel obliged to have proper restrooms. Like
yeah,
they can just be sitting there and cooking for you and don't even have a toilet that can flush.
yeah.
It's unbelievable. So my question is, who's responsible? Who's
I,
responsible?
I
I would
think,
say two people, two
yeah,
bodies are
yeah,
responsible.
but I think two people are responsible. But how it will work is these, from the government side of things. The government cannot come and paint your building. The government cannot come and always clean your house. However, there has to be some type of leadership in place. There has to be some type of, let's just say, if Liberia. I'm not trying to hit on the current mayor of Monrovia,
Right.
but if we had a mayor who is going reaching out to businesses and encouraging these businesses, hey, this is what you need to, this will promote your business, and taking charge and saying, you know what, let this is what we will play. This is our part to play, and this is your part. If you don't play your part, we will find you. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're walking on Broad Street, I'm sure you'll see trash laying in from a store. And if people are getting fined for, if that store is getting fined, whenever that store saw somebody dropping something, they will really be serious about it. So the I think that is from a leadership. You need a real leadership that will encourage people, that will have town hall meetings, business business owner meeting, government officials, that city official talking to people. This is what we can do to clean our city. I think the education will help the country develop. So when you look at things, it's from both sides, but mostly it's from the leadership. There's not real leadership to really educate a citizen. If you live in the US for many years, you know that every city, sometimes there is a town hall meeting. There's this happening, there's that happening. And most of these meetings, sometimes there's how do you call it? Commercial that they play. It's a free commercial um public service announcement that happens. And this public service announcement educate the citizen about what's going on and what they can do. So they can, every street has a sign to tell you this, and everything has this. So I think the leadership can help the citizen. They can help educate the citizen too. But I think we Liberian, we need to play our part. But most of us, we came out here before we see how things are done in different way. So we have this knowledge to say, okay, it's not only government will do this for you, but because some of us we grew up in Monrovia, Liberia. If you haven't left, let's just say you haven't left, let's just say Ganta, you don't know how people do things other places, and you haven't been educated to the modern world. How will you actually do it? You depend on your people who are well educated to come and educate you.
But Jefferson, let me okay, let me stop you on there this
Yeah.
for a second.
Yeah.
Some of our brothers and sisters travel outside of Liberia.
Yeah.
They are exposed to the modern society. Some of these individuals still go home and will not have toilet installed, flushable toilet in the restaurant. I'm telling you, I went to a specific restaurant in Painesville. I'm not gonna say name.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I do, I go to the restroom. If you don't have a restroom, I'm sorry, I'm not eating there. I'm not eating there because I mean that to me doesn't it doesn't align. I went to this specific individual restaurant and there was no flushable toilet. And this is a business of somebody who lived in the United States for 10 plus years. How do
Yeah.
you go home and establish a restaurant and don't have a flushable toilet? You don't even have water. You throw like little stuff in the bucket.
Yeah.
So yes, if there were regulations to say you can't do this here, this is what
Yeah.
need to be done, this is your rating, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
perhaps then she would. But she been exposed. So
Yeah.
what is the excuse?
But let me answer that. First of all, I would say shame on those guys who left. Shame on those people who left these countries and go out there and still and don't want to make effort for our people to educate our people to lead by example. If I had a house in Monrovia, I would make sure that house is painted. Let's just say in Liberia in general, it will be painted. The fan lines will be painted. Trash will be taken every time, because I know each of these things that I'm doing will bring job to the people, but also will make people, my neighbors, will see how I'm treating my house, and they will want to do something too. But I think one thing I can say too for sure is there are some Liberians who've been in this country for even like for example the United States for over 20 years, but they still have that mindset as if they are still in Liberia. Some of them, so when they leave from here, they go back. It's the same thing. They didn't really learn a lot. They're Liberian that when you're talking to, they still have the mindset as if they haven't traveled before, as if Liberia. So when they go back, it's just the same thing. They didn't really learn a lot. But there are Liberians who actually learn a lot, and I'm sure they are a little bit different than
Mhm.
some of those people you are talking about. If you, for example, you have a business right now, it'll be different.
There's
Stefan,
no way. There
yeah,
is no way I'm
yeah,
going to be running a business with no
yeah,
bathroom. There's
yeah,
just no way.
yeah, yeah. So they are that's what we call. That's what we always say they are like-minded citizens, and other people like-minded citizens like yourself. If they like, for example, somebody like me have a business, I will have a bathroom. How will you have a business without bathroom? Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Even South Central. South Central, there's bathroom. I mean, we go to a place there that play unlike they say employee only, but there's a business with bathroom. How you will leave from here? You have a business, then you don't have a bathroom, or you have traveled somewhere else. You see all of these things, but you still don't make effort. But let me to answer your question on that too. This is another reason why you see most of the people, some of them that are minister, they're senator. Some of them travel to other countries before, but it's still they're still doing the corrupt behavior. They're still doing this thing. Why? It's because some of them just don't learn. They just and I think it just takes people like you, most of us, to just go back and just say, you know what, we want to do things differently.
We want to do things differently. Very, very, very key. You
Mm-hmm.
know, everything cannot be exactly as it is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But I always say instead of just copying the negative thing out of a country, why
Mm.
don't you go and take the positive thing there in your
Yeah.
country? Why don't you just copy all the positive, the great things
Yeah.
out of this place you live? Or, again, I'm saying this place because I'm referencing United States, and we
Yeah.
do have a big population of Liberians in a state like, Minnesota. The last time I checked, we had about 30,000 plus Liberians in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then you have Philadelphia, 20,000 plus. Liberia is the size of Tennessee, my friend. And we have able citizens that can set example, but yet still we are stuck in this mentality. The next thing could be we need to establish awareness, right? We need
Yeah.
more people need to be aware. Yes, you can establish awareness, but then It requires leadership.
Yeah.
And if the top leaders are failing us, what do we do?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not politicizing, trying to pick sides, but if we're trying to solve this in these issues that we have in the country, there has to be some collaboration
Yeah. I
going
think
on.
I think you're right. We have to have collaboration between government and citizen, and I think that's what I talk about. People have to lead by example, and some of these leaders who are elected, who are appointed, they need to really lead by example so that other people can follow. They need to be very encouraging. Um, People like you, Stefan, other people that are trying to make the difference, they need to be encouraged. They need to be backed so that like for example, if you're doing your business and somebody come and just put trash in front of your place, and you're telling the person to remove the trash, and you call police because the person trying to be something with you, at least you need to be back to say, yes, this why you doing this. So for me, I think there should be some rules, there should be regulations, there should be something to really encourage. There should be education to make, it's not make, but to educate people so that they can do things, and so that they know what they're doing. Because people are educated doesn't mean that you can't educate them. You can keep educating them. You can keep educating people. Other places, people still have a thing when the sign in a restaurant when they just mark saying that wet flow or this happened,
Right.
this happened. I mean,
Right.
tell you
Correct.
already know, people will put a sign there and say don't do it. It doesn't mean you don't know it, you already know it.
Awareness, continuous
Yeah,
awareness. Yeah.
education, they continue to educate you even though you already, like for example, people in Liberia, sometimes when you hear let's just say the mayor will go somewhere clean the place today, and then when they are talking about it, they'll say, oh, every time we clean the place people put the trash there the next week. I said, but even in other country, every day, every Wednesday, they come and take the trash. So they didn't say, "Oh, why do people keep putting the trash out?" That's that's
Ah,
it happens every time. Keep taking the trash. As the people putting the trash can out, they keep taking the trash. So if it's
do
say
you
because
know why? Do
yeah,
you know why?
well,
Because it's a system.
yeah,
And if you establish policies
mm-hmm,
without follow up to those policies and implementing and making sure that people abide and adhere to those policies,
yeah,
there's a failed system. And
yeah.
that's what's happening. And how do we get out of a failed system is what some of us are trying to solve. It's a
I
puzzle piece that we all should be solving.
I think how we can get out of it is we like-minded Liberian. We all need to join and show and go out there, continue to prove, not just talking about it. Most of us not just criticizing these things like, oh, why these people are not doing it. But for example, if I was out there, even if I have political difference, whoever the mayor, whoever the official, city official, even if I don't like that person because they are for this party, that party, and I go there, I want to make a difference. Like I want to have some type of cleaning program, and going on like some type of cleaning program. I will still meet with them and see how we all can work together. And I'll
Right.
go open mind. I'm not gonna say, oh, because you're a CDC led government, so I don't want to work with you. No, it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be I go there and say, hey, this is my idea. I think every month, the first of every month, there should be some type of cleaning program where many citizens volunteer, like Rwanda and other places that do it. I mean, we all need to join together and work together. Even all like-minded Liberians, if we all join and
Mm.
go out there and start working together, other people
Mm-hmm.
are joining in. Like for example, since you started doing your video, many Liberians started building houses in Liberia now. Many people, I'm sure many people, you receive a lot of emails and other things from people telling you that because of you, they are encouraged to go to Liberia and build house. So if we were to start something in Liberia, something that is becoming known, oh, this group of Liberians, they are doing this cleaning up situation, or they just say we pick one county and we just talk to whoever, even if the mayor of Monrovia they don't agree with us, but we pick one county and started cleaning up program there, and the next thing you know, everybody start talking about how clean that county is. The next thing you know, other people too will start in another county, and then it started going on and on. I think So for me, the best way we can solve the problem is all the like-minded Liberians who just don't like the idea of Monrovia being dirty. People that criticize how bad Monrovia is. Let us all join together and go there and actually see what we can do. Because by just talking about it, it won't help. But we have to, take the step. Then other people will follow. I think that's how
Yes.
we solve that problem.
Okay. Okay. In other words, we have to become the
Yeah,
leaders.
yeah,
And my thing also with that is, yes, people in the diaspora do have the upper hand. And
yeah,
yes, we can go home. At what point the local citizen also become a part of this movement? Because honestly, like I've said, it needs to be a collective effort.
yeah.
We in the diaspora cannot leave here and say, oh, kumbaya fest, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And local citizens are just not complying.
Well,
So, so proceed.
you see, the part of the local citizen, you can't just go there and say we are all from abroad. We are doing it on our own. No, it shouldn't be like that. If you want to do program like that, you leave from here, you organize yourself, you have this thing going. You can go there and say, okay, you know what we can do is let go and read and go to community, call town hall meeting, community hall, like city hall, like and call the community, whoever in the community leader, call them out and say, hey, this is what we want to do. We are starting this program. Maybe we want to start from we want to start in your community. We ask people to volunteer into the program. So you can still organize yourself out here, go to Liberia and do it, but you also have to connect with the local there. Because that's
Mm,
why I was telling somebody today about working in the media and TV station there. And I told the person, I said, when I come to Liberia, I'm not just going to say, I'm from America. I work for all the major TV stations. I'm a video engineer. I'm this, I'm that. I'm not gonna go there with that attitude. I'm gonna come here and connect with Liberians that are here, journalists, other media there, and make sure that we all work together. And their
mhm,
idea, they'll bring their idea to the table. So if you go there, you go to Liberia, you can also bring you can ask the people, what do you guys think about this? Let us all work together. Don't go there and be speaking Siri. Oh, y'all say, my man, I'm the one from America. I know they acting here. You don't know. And then that's when you start creating problems for yourself because our people will do you quick. Don't go there and be talking about me. I'm from America. I know both. I got this degree. I'm a doctor in America. And then when the people find out you're not even doctor in America, then it becomes a serious issue.
okay.
But anyway, besides all of that, I think the local opinion should matter. You go there, you meet with them, you have a great conversation, ask them about their suggestion, tell them what you're about to do. Then you ask them for their suggestion, listen to them. Even if it's not going to be 100%, if you're not 100% going with them because you know what you already want to do, but at least they feel respected, they feel valued, their opinion would be great too. So I think it will help them a lot to work with you in a good, for the for the betterment of Liberia.
I think what I'm hearing from you is that it still will require a collective effort. It
Yep,
still will require everyone from top leadership
yep,
to people who are just walking the street selling things on their heads. It will, in order
yep,
to transform this
yep,
our country, it
yeah.
needs to everyone needs to be involved. Okay. So if you were looking at issues, right, in Liberia, how would you rate the issue? For me, top, I would say lack of leadership and accountability is the top issue of this country. That's for me. What how will you rate some of the issues that are going on within our country now that are stopping our growth?
like rating like specific issues like
Yeah.
like
So on my list would be one, lack of leadership, two, lack of accountability, three, education. But by education, I'm not talking about formal education, going to
yeah,
sit in class and learning chemistry, square root of X, Y, and Z. No, I'm talking about a level of awareness,
yeah,
right? That people will have to be able to make really informed decision, not just because they say I said. That's what I'm talking about. People
yeah,
can think for themselves. These to me are some of the key issues. So what would be your, in your, opinion, some of the issues that we really need to address now?
I think some of the issues start with, I would say, leadership. We need people
Mm-hmm.
to take charge and be the example, like lead by example that people always say. Even our work that we do here, you always have to lead by example. I think leadership is a problem in Liberia. People talk about these things during election. And once they become that, then the next thing you know, I'm not talking about the one person. It's not just,
Right.
yeah, but I just be honest. People talk about this, whether you're a representative, you're a senator, all of this. Once they get the title, the next thing you know, some of them don't even visit their county for over a year and don't know what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just talking about this. I learned from people and stuff. So for me, I think lack of leadership is a big problem. Number two, I think patriotism is another thing that we need to really,
Mm.
yeah, patriotism is something that we need to educate ourselves, and I'm including myself. I'm just saying this because you see, many Liberians will make, when I was back home, people will make this statement: "Oh, that pie, that's my country. Oh, that pie is not
Mm-hmm.
my country. Let me eat my own." Oh. And that mentality is, it will never really help us. So when somebody become a minister or senator, when somebody come and bribe them, they say, "Oh, this is not my pie country. Let me eat my own and go. My turn will
Right.
be soon." People are not, and then so with that, people are not also building legacy. As if I was
Mm.
senator of, let's just say, I'm not gonna call wherever county I'm from, but in general, if I was senator of, let's just say, Grand or Bon County, or Bon County,
Go on.
or Sino County, or they just say Nimba County, my
Grand Crew. Ah, my county.
Grand Crew County, Maryland County. I think I'll count all the 15 county, most of Colorado County. My thing would be to have legacy. And so that when I one day people can look back and say, man, when the guy was sitting to something really happened. So like you say, if I was
Mm.
mayor of Monrovia, I want to do something that people will remember, that will put Liberia also on the map. Like for example, if I was mayor of Monrovia and Monrovia become the cleanest city in Africa, and not only my partisan or people that support me saying it, but other people going to the country and
Right.
taking pictures that Rwanda is doing, that will be a good thing that people will remember forever. Oh, this thing started when this guy was mayor of Monrovia. So for
Mm.
me, I think people don't really think about the legacy. They don't think of
Mm.
patriotism is a problem too, because people don't think about Liberia, putting Liberia first. They put their own interests first. In many in situations, sometimes it's good to put yourself first. But if you are serving the people, it shouldn't be about you. If you have your own business, your work, you can say, well, this is my business. I have this business for this reason. So it's what I am doing. But when you are serving the people as a senator, minister, mayor, you are serving the people. It's not about you. These senators or these people, these guys get paid like $15,000 a month, or I think more. And then they have
Mm.
allowance. They got this. They're getting all these things that other rich country senators are not either getting or they are getting. For a poor country like Liberia, are you there for you or for the people? And they're getting all these pay with these allowances, with this, with that. But then the policeman is not getting paid. So
Hmm.
at the end of the day, they are putting themselves first. It's not about the patriotism. They are not thinking about Liberia in general. How dirty is the country while you are living good life? Your house, there's 24 hours electricity and all
Hmm.
of this happening. But when you step out the door, you see how bad everything is. When it rains, the
Hmm.
entire state is flooded. Are you really thinking about Liberia? You're getting all this big pay, but the people are struggling. So I think patriotism is a big thing, and the reason patriotism is a big thing in all areas, not just government official. When you talk about a person representing Liberia in sport, for example, me, I'm not gonna go kill myself over there for that country. But if a real patriot, it's not about what the country will give you, it's what you are giving the country. You use Zawadi M, you work hard in the US, you spending almost everything that you work for in Liberia to create businesses. And you went out of your way to with all your business schedule. You created a YouTube channel to educate people about Liberia, to show people that hey, you can do this. Because of you, I would say at this point, hundreds of people are inspired to do something in Liberia because you are building communities. All these people that are getting involved in the community, all of that. I think I would say that you are patriot. And if we have, like just say, out of our 5 million Liberians, if we have like let's just say 1 million people who are very patriots, who want to make a difference in Liberia, like someone like Stefan, you go out there, everybody say, "Man, that guy really like Liberia." Oh." When you were talking, people said, "That man really like that girl really like Liberia." Oh." I mean, if we have few people saying these things about Liberia and wanting to do something and making the effort to do it, I think the country will be great. So for me, leadership, patriotism, people also
Mm.
don't think about their legacy. There's no real legacy. Somebody build little thing, they think it's all good now. Or send few people to school, they think it's all good. But the real legacy is something that change things around, where people can grade you on a higher scale level. If I go to Liberia and give few people scholarship, a lot of people already done that. But if I was to go to Liberia and do something big that is changing the country, like for example, you are building communities, and let's just say at some point you become Liberia's first person to do this, the richest female Liberian. But by that time, you have employed more than 1,000 people. This is a young Liberian who have employed hundreds of people or thousands of people through business. That is a real legacy. If you build the community that you are building, those are real legacy. So for me, people need to think about legacy. They need to think about the meaning of patriotism. A real patriot does not want anything from the country, but it's not about what the country is giving them, it's what they are giving the country. And also they don't think about, oh, this happened, that happened. When they're serving the people, it's not about them, it is about the people. So if you want to get rich, don't go for the government job. Start your own business and make money, make profit. It's all about the profit, it's all about living luxury. But if you want to serve
But even with businesses, we do have social obligation as a
yeah,
business. You do have that on a business model. You need to have social obligation to adhere to.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, go on.
Yeah, so no, yeah, that part of it is true. But I'd say mostly, if you want to have, if you the people are paying you, it shouldn't be about you mostly. It should be about the people. But one thing I also want to encourage, don't get me wrong, to all the business people that may be watching, don't get me wrong. Also have, that's why the patriotism comes in. Um, if you want to be a real patriot and you have a business, make sure Liberians get paid better. Make sure you employ more Liberian. Make sure it's all about the country. Don't make all the money come to America and build your house here. Try to build a house in Liberia. These Ghanaians and Nigerians, they do that all the time. That's why their country is great. But if you just sitting down and be talking all the trash about Liberia, it's bad. I mean, also if you can talk about these things, criticizing this person, that person, at least try to make the effort to go there. We know it's kind of hard going back home, but try your best. At least be making the effort to go. And one day make the move to go. I know I'm saying that I will be one of the person that will go soon. So I mean, yeah, so I think I'm talking too much about this because I get inspired when we are talking about this kind of stuff. We can't bypass this thing. We can't say we are not going to bring politics into it. We can't talk about our government official. At some point, we have to also address these things, but not attack individuals. I can't say
Yes.
just we are. It's just we are for this happening or this one person for this happening. It's a lot of people for it. We like that other people because we want people that will challenge us. We have a to be honest with you, this are all these things happening. I
Yeah,
mean,
we don't want to be political, as I even myself say all the time. But what we fail to understand, or fail to realize, is that politics does have everything to do with us.
yeah,
Even the air you're breathing,
yeah,
even the cleanness of your water, or lack of cleanness of your water. Politics does impact your rice prices, or your movement, your oil, everything. Everything has to do with politics. And so
yeah,
we can't say we want to stop talking politics, because I mean that's a key factor of how we are even moving our lives. But what we don't want to do is to attack individuals, because I
Yeah.
say collectively, we all need to do something
Yeah.
about the ongoing issues in our country: community development, mentorship, even being a patriot, like you said. If you can prioritize a country and put your country first and say,
Yeah.
I love my country, and show your love for your country
Yeah.
by one, stop being negative.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well,
Being a positive person doesn't mean it's false optimism. It just means that you know you come from this country, this is your home, right? But going to other people to say, oh, the country is this, the country is that, the country is this and that, you are just not spreading encouraging words to others to even want to go to your country, because obviously you've already degraded your country.
yeah.
Even for those who are just relaxing, don't have anything to do with Liberia, go around or become the more negative people. And so that's what the issue of patriotism comes in. If you
Yeah.
really love your country, you will start by being an example. And
Yeah.
how do you lead by example? It's not to put up big mansion for me to say, oh yeah, this person built big mansion here in Marshall City, whatever it is. What have you done? Have you
Yeah.
gone to even Liberia to go to school to even talk to students? Have you gone to mentor? Have you gone to community to ask them
Yeah.
what they need within the
Yeah.
community? Have you done that? Patriotism is
Yeah.
putting your country
Even
first.
your own
Is loving your country.
even your old community that you keep that you grew up in, or the school that you went to when you were in Liberia. I go to Liberia now. I attended grade D Addison in Monrovia, or I went to other school in the rural part of Liberia. And I one day I don't want to go there to encourage the upcoming students to say, why you guys can do something. The little you learn here, make sure you take it serious, because when you go out there, at least it will help you to go to the next step. I mean, when people see you, oh man, the guy used to go to the school. Now he's in America. He's doing this. I mean, it that alone can be inspiring. And so, I mean, the real thing: go to your community, encourage people. How can we do things? I want to get involved in the community thing. What are some of the things you guys have here? I mean, so I think we really need to work together. We need to work hard. What the person say something?
The person says, yes, but in reference to the
Yeah,
locals
yeah,
engagement. Yes, but many locals depends on the diaspora to come back and start farms so workers can get employed. That dependence issue, it needs to go.
yeah.
Again, again, this is another topic. This is
Hmm.
another topic that has so many layers, because there will be some people that say, our people over there, they're just depending on us to send them money all the time. Then my counter is where you're enabling them.
Yeah,
That's the other
that
point.
that's
But
a
then
good.
my other point is, where are the jobs availability? So there are so many layers
Yeah,
to this, right? To the
yeah,
saying of, oh, the person just depending on me to send them money. But then the person will say, well, you enable me. And the
yeah,
person say, I don't have jobs. And
yeah,
then it just become a
yeah.
rig my role. So that's another issue.
I, yeah, you're right. Because are we making any effort to also tell these people, hey, you got to make effort yourself too? Because, for example, my little sister Patricia, she worked with me with the Liberian TV network. When I told her, I'd say, hey, I want to help you. You have a child. I want to help you. And she stepped up to start working with me. And because of that, I also encourage her that every month you get paid. So I think we should also tell our people that, hey, you can get back to work, but at the same time, we have to create a way so that they can also work. We got to also keep telling them, like, hey, you can work with me, but this is what I would do. I'm not just gonna don't depend on me like every month I will send you money, but I'll
Right.
create opportunity. How about we get in business together? Are you somebody that I can really trust? I have my business there. Somebody else is managing it, but I can give you a job on the side. Every month you make money. Are you really serious to actually work there? And if they can't work there, then you don't encourage them by sending them money every month. I mean,
I have heard within our community, some people say, oh, tell their family, say, oh, I'm just bad lucky with business. And I said, huh?
mm,
You're what? You are bad luck with business. The reason why you have bad luck with business, according to you, is because your mom will still send you money next month.
yeah,
So the urge to go and start farming, a lot of us used to farm when we live in Liberia. Now people don't farm. One, this person specifically is because you know what? Even after she says she has very bad luck having a business, her mom will what? Send her money.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, if you continue to feed me, why would I go look for food?
Yeah.
Again, this we enable, but then especially we enable people who can actually do things.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
uh, it's just, the problems are just too much,
Yeah.
and we in the diaspora who have the upper hand to solve some of these issues, we need to examine ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to examine what actions we're taking, what we're doing. Are we enabling a lot of people? Are we actually putting this country first? Are we leading? If we have businesses, are we showing examples? Are we
Yeah.
leading by examples? What type of policies are we putting in place? What,
Yeah.
how are we changing? Or how are we changing things? Or are we going back home and doing the same thing, saying, "Well, this too is like, bro, I hate that phrase so
Yeah.
much."
That's crazy. Let me tell you this. When I talk about legacy don't only have to. It doesn't only have to do with government official or government. Let's just say you have a business, a corporation. You started in Liberia as a Liberian, but you are like other corporation there. You don't have a major corporate office. When you think about places in Los Angeles, JP Morgan Bank, Chase, you see the building, the Skyline building. So when I'm talking about legacy, once you start your business there and your business start growing, you started going big, you start making millions of dollars. If you decided that, you know what, let me build one of the Skyline building in Monrovia as a corporate office, and I can rent some part, even if I can use all of that, I can rent some part of it out. I mean, that's it's the legacy. One day people will look at that building, they'll say, wow, maybe it will be called Zawadi M. Zawadi M Executive
Who knows?
Officer. But at the end of the day, I thank God
Oh
that's
Lord.
one of your legacy that people will always look at. Man, that building is Zawadi M executive office that she built when she first started her businesses. I mean, when I'm talking about legacy and patriotism, those are the things that you can do. You invest in your own country, you are helping developing your own country. For many Liberians that sit out here that just say, oh, I can just go back home, they too in Liberia. That just don't, for me,
That
it's,
that that whole phrase,
yeah,
Once I'm in Liberia, you said this to Liberia, the way I can pick up speed,
yeah,
hey, it be like, "Emma, you okay?" No, the statement you're making is you are so complacent in your condition, and you're telling me this to Liberia without even offering any suggestion or solution is just so alarming to me, and I really don't like that. And so for some of us that come from here and we
yeah,
start to say the same thing, it's like, what have you learned?
yeah,
How can you be a change agent? How can you put your country first when your mindset remains the same from when you had this kind of mindset before you even travel? You would think you probably change, but obviously, a lot of people just carry this mindset of this too is Liberia. Well, yeah, of course.
yeah. So this too is Liberia. So you know what? I don't care. This is how it is. We are okay with the condition. That's for me. That's how it sounds to me when people are saying it. We are okay with the condition, and that's how it should be. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. Let us all think about how can we make this happen. That's what I was saying. If you were Liberian, you are doing something, and you go there a couple of times, and one day you go to your communities, or other places, you get involved with community thing. You just go to your place and say, how can I help the community? How can I do this? How can I do that? Yeah.
Somebody is I have been seeing this Miami stuff, but sometimes I just tune out when it comes to this type of thing. So we're gonna read this comment here. We have said Monrovia is like Miami. In the time he was growing in the 70s, Monrovia was cleaner than New York. We should not be making joke on our president. I mean, we're talking about current times. It's not an attack. My opinion isn't an attack. But
Yeah.
realistically, is it really like Miami? In what context are you speaking to say this place is like? And I'm only responding to this comment, okay?
Yeah.
Because I really didn't want to go into what the president. I don't follow.
Yeah.
Um, in what context are you comparing Monrovia to be Miami?
Monrovia is Monrovia. Why should that be any kind of comparison there? In which way? Like I'm gonna tell. That's what I was thinking about when the president said it. I said, what brought that statement? What was the main thing with that? Because Monrovia is always Monrovia. And, people don't see Los Angeles and say Los Angeles is Paris or New York. New York
Never.
is London. The people promote this thing into the way that it's that has its own brand. That's a brand by itself. Monrovia should be Monrovia. That's that, and promote like Monrovia into a higher level that people will see it and they don't really say, "Oh, that's little Miami over there." I mean,
Even
we're not.
Monrovia, California still does not compare
Yeah,
to Miami.
yeah.
But if you are talking maybe the party life in Monrovia is comparable to Miami, maybe I could possibly agree with you, but still it's not the
Oh,
same.
yeah,
I still don't understand the context here, and I'm moving on.
yeah.
Um, the other comment here said it depends on which part of New York you're talking about. Of course, are you talking about Manhattan versus Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn? Where exactly? This is a very good question. But then, if you're even comparing 1970s to New York, at what point are you comparing New York to
What
1970?
my thing is, why can't we have our own branding going on? Why should we always compare ourselves in that sense of why? What's the main thing? We want to be like Miami, we want to be like New York. What's the real thing here? That's what I don't get. Are we trying to we are acting as these people too? Is that what we are trying to say? We are as developed as these people? Is that what we are trying to say? What's the main deal here? Are we doing
That's fooling the people. Let us yeah, that's fooling people, okay?
yeah? I mean, yeah, it's for me, these things that I think about it, I'm like, is that somebody started a show in Liberia, then they'll say, Little American Idol. I said, why can't you have your own thing? Uh,
Right. Why
yeah,
can't you be creative and original for once? And it comes back to just not thinking for themselves.
yeah. It's a Liberian Grammy Award. I said, why can't you have your own thing? I mean, I'm not saying that's the name, but I've seen show where people relate, they say, oh, it's this area. I said, why can't you have it in your own way? When I was starting a YouTube channel, I could have called it maybe Los Angeles, the Liberian, but I said Liberian TV network or Liberian TV because I want Liberian to have their own identity, not with other people.
Brand yourself
Yeah,
accordingly and start photocopying, stop copying other people's ideas.
yeah,
It does not make you original.
yeah. If the Liberian TV go global, it's gonna be Liberian TV. It will always be Liberian TV, and people will always respect it for that. They will not say, "Oh, Liberia, this or this um, CNN, Liberia." Do you think
Oh,
if I was global right now, people would respect me for that? CNN Liberia, my name my channel CNN Liberia. It doesn't really make sense.
first of all, you need to start. They're gonna come after you for that name if you try
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
So let's just be clear.
yeah.
Um,
We need to have our own identity and put
uh,
ourselves in a good way, not compare, not try to be like other people exactly like. Don't get me wrong. We can also learn how other people are doing their thing, and then improve on it and and make the create and create be creative with it and even be better.
thank you.
But we
Somebody said, I wish we could
yeah,
copy everything. This is what I referenced
yeah,
earlier. You need to take the good out of the country
yeah,
and go and implement it.
yeah,
And by that, if you see structure in place somewhere,
yeah,
you say, oh,
yeah,
that can apply to this community. Like the community development that you referenced that I'm doing. And thank God to the librarians that have joined me on this journey of community development is because in the United States there are the structures everywhere. Every community you go in, the zoning that's applicable. Well, that's the most communities in the United States do have zoning laws in place. So if I'm taking this concept back home, you better believe the zoning will be applicable.
yeah,
Buildings will have structure. The formation, everything will be structured because you know what? I've copied the good things from the United States. So
yeah.
why must you try to always take things or
Yeah.
say things that don't even make sense? You know, your country is not where it needs to be. Comparing it to Miami, to me, it's just making fool out of people. To
Hey,
me,
yeah,
personally.
what they trying to do? Are they trying to be little America or what's going on? They're like, I mean. we can be Liberian. We can be Liberia. If I wanted to be somebody else when I came to the U.S., I would have changed my last name to something else and be John Jefferson John and something else. But I know I'm Liberian. I'll always be Liberian. I like my name. When people say Jefferson Saba, where you from? It
Don't be
brings.
having two first names now, Jefferson John. Okay.
I'm just trying to be sarcastic. Yeah,
So this individual said, "My sister, I just want to point out that we cannot bring our country down. Other country looking at us." Okay, let us.
yeah,
Okay, mind of a champion. I like your name, by the way. The mindset of a champion. Again, false optimism exists. The truth of the fact is, and on my channel here, I promote Liberia heavily. I'm heavily involved in Liberia's development, some of which I don't really talk about on this channel. Liberian TV, Jefferson here, is also really involved by showing Liberia in its purest form, okay? More visibility for the country. So both individuals on this live here, we're not trying to tear our country apart. What we are trying to do here is what? To identify some of the issues and raise awareness for some of our brothers and sisters who otherwise wouldn't even want to care about this country. That is exactly what we're doing. So, saying that like Monrovia is Miami is you're being delusional. I'm sorry to say, because you know what? Structurally, it's not.
yeah,
Economic is not. Financially, it's not. Infrastructure is not.
yeah,
So, what exactly are you comparing here? And that's why I just want us to alleviate, because spreading rumors, that's false. You spreading
yeah,
false things is
yeah.
not right. It is
Yeah.
not right. Um, and that's what that is.
For me, from my point of view, people can see it differently, but I tell you for sure, some of these things we need to talk about them. We need to really talk about these things too, and so that we all can educate each other. I'm sorry for those who may think different, but I think honestly, we have to talk about these things. We Liberians need to be like. That's why I give that example that sometimes people will they'll just take different name. Oh, American Idol Liberia, American Got Talent Liberia. It's the I'm like, why will you do all of this? They other TV Liberia, but it's like it Liberia. Oh,
They have Miami Beach in Liberia too, and I think maybe that's the reference point. But even if you were to compare Miami Beach to Miami,
mm,
you're suffering from something. You are
yeah,
really suffering from something to even think
yeah,
that that place look remotely like Miami. Not
yeah,
even the ghetto of Miami. I'm so sorry to say, and it's not putting our country down. It's being realistic,
yeah,
identifying the issues, and trying
yeah,
to work on the issues.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean that's true.
So there's this comment that says, "Be proud of your country and fight to promote it like a brand. Don't use another country's success
Yeah,
as a measurement stick for
I think
yours."
that,
So there's something called benchmark.
mhm.
Okay, you can do that across. You can compare counties. You can even compare cities. You can compare countries. Whatever it is. Okay, and you can even do within. Look, if you are trying to lead your country in a better direction, I would say there's nothing wrong with modeling great ideas to
Mhm.
fit. Okay, even very modern countries. Okay, the Western countries, whatever, they still learn from each other. Okay, if you really think about it, when people are fighting to be superpower, this and this, they are looking at factors that will set them apart from others, and
Yeah,
that means I'm going to see what this country is doing now. I need to do better. If you
yeah,
look at technology in Japan versus the United States, a lot of people don't understand United States don't have a good healthcare system compared to other countries, and you
yeah,
have to do a benchmark. You have to see what's going on. Some of the technology in Japan, comparing it to the United States. In Japan, you can even tell the sex of your baby immediately. Before then, the US would take months for you to go find out the sex of the baby. So, in terms of medical care in Japan, is better than United States in a lot of in with a lot of factors being considered as far as healthcare. So now, a country like the United States, who wants to be high up on the ladder of healthcare, they're going to look at countries that are doing well. what technology are they using? What are they doing with their school system for them to be on top? It's not that you are so much like trying to measure your success with other countries, but you're trying to see what are the things that are effective within that country to do better for yours. And that's what some of us were saying, that okay, if I see zoning here, things are structurally done, of course I want to take it back home. It's not
Yeah.
that I'm trying to make sure that
Yeah.
Liberia is like exactly like America. No, no, no. I'm just personally trying to take what is good to me back to a place. Otherwise, I would see that I have no structure. I love my country very
And that
much.
would
I
be
don't have
great.
to preach on this channel. I
Yeah.
love my country very much.
Yeah.
And whatever it takes that I need to do to set an example or to be a part of the movement, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I would do. And if it called for me to just copy great things in the
Yeah.
United States, I
Yeah.
would do that.
And the thing is, I can come here and copy something and then go back home and be real creative with it. I can
Hmm.
copy the KFC here and go home and maybe do something with it to make it better. But I can call it KFC Liberia,
Right.
then do exactly like they are doing it here. And then when you go global, you know what will happen? They will sue the hell out of me. And you know, so for me, I think we have to create our own thing in our own way, but it doesn't mean we can't learn from people. So one of the things I will try to make research on to really understand what the president was referencing to when he said Miami, Africa, or Miami.
Please let me know when you do,
Yeah,
because
I will.
like I said, I tune when this president is talking, or just I just tune out. Well,
Yeah,
I see the comments I pass by it, but it's sad to say Monrovia is like Miami. But if I don't know the context, it's very troubling.
yeah,
Okay, I don't know the context as it is,
yeah.
but if I try to just make some assumptions, blah blah blah, it's still very troubling to me.
Yeah.
Okay, the
Mar-
statement is
yeah.
troubling to me.
Why not? Why not? That environment could be even more beautiful than Miami. Well, is that what he's trying to say? Because it's like coastline with palm tree, coconut tree is like paradise. Is that what? Or that by development? Because if even the college in Miami, probably the budget is even bigger than our entire country. I'm sorry, people. I'm not trying to put Liberia down, but that's just how it is. The college and the university that I went to, the budget. When I learned about the budget, I'm like, whoa, this is even bigger than where I'm from. But what I'm trying to say, what was he talking about? Development. But at the end of the day, we beside all of that, I just feel that we should have our own brand. We can learn from
Yeah,
people.
we need to brand ourselves, and in
Uh,
order to start inviting others
Yeah,
to help brand the country,
yeah,
we have to be the example. You cannot keep inviting people to have X, Y, and Z things
yeah.
going on, and the person does not feel safe. You
Let me.
cannot keep inviting people to do X, Y, and Z if you haven't taken care of sanitation.
Yeah,
But again, notwithstanding,
yeah,
we know all of these problems. I
yeah,
always say, what is the solution? The solution is leadership.
yeah.
We need
Leader.
to People need to be held accountable.
Hmm.
We need to lead and be an example and be accountable for our actions and decisions that we make. This to me is a way to move forward.
Yeah. Okay, Oprah Liberia.
Ah, that's bad.
You know what I mean. That's what I'm trying to say. When we're talking about brand, you could have named your channel Oprah Liberia, but you said
Oprah,
Zawadi
no,
and
oh
it's
hell no.
original.
Zawadi and
That's what I'm
originality is
trying to get
key.
at. You didn't say I didn't call myself Dr. Phil Liberia.
Oh, you better not
Why would I do that? Liberian TV network is original.
be Dr. Phil, and then people be Dr. Phil will see you later. Measuring your success with others helps to encourage you to improve yourself. I mean, like I said, that is exactly what you're doing. If you're not comparing, it's like you have your business, and the first quarter you probably made $2,000, and now you need to reach a goal of 10,000. If you cannot compare what you did in the first quarter, how then will you know what you are going to do in the second quarter? Please, is fair to say you do need that. You need that comparison to do well. And so if people are improving in different places, you can look and say, yes, these are the things that are happening and happening. Don't necessarily have to copy everything, but you can copy the good. You can imitate or perhaps take some good ideas out of what is happening. So I rest my case on
For
that.
me, let me say this to this person. Like I can say. Liberia has the potential to be like Miami or more than Miami. But I can say Monrovia is Miami or like Miami right now, because I can say Liberia, Monrovia has the potential because we can develop, we can reach that point. If I'm doing anything that wanting to accomplish, I can tell myself I can be more than even Tyler Perry. I can be more than anybody because I know I can get there. But I cannot say I am like Tyler Perry right now.
Right. You better hope you don't say that.
Yeah, I can say I'm like Tyler Perry right now, but I'm not
Because
there.
Tyler Perry is Tyler Perry.
Yeah, he's Tyler Perry. Yeah, and besides that, he is, his, he's different. You know, he's at certain level, and I'm at. You know, I'm not saying I'm down, but
Right, right.
we
You're
both
at
are
this
different.
level.
Direct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep, for sure. So Mindset of a Champion said, but in today we can copy American man dress code more than our own country cloth. We're moving further away from our culture.
that that that's it. That's the one to think about. Well, you see, in this modern time, not just American men dress clothes. Because, for example, even the Chinese, they have their own dress clothes.
But
That's
most clothes are not even made in the US. So
yeah,
let us
they
just
are
get
not
that clear.
US. Yeah, they are not American dress clothes. They are modern way of dressing. So that's what I'm trying to say. That even the Asian, they have their way of dressing. The Chinese have their own way of dressing. But now you see an Asian guy dressing a nice suit. It doesn't mean they want to dress like American. It's just the modern dressing. That's just how it is these days. Yeah, so that part of it, the dressing part of it, is just not American. To be honest with you, the clothes we are wearing now, some of these clothes probably they were made in China, they were made in France, they were made somewhere else. Some of the cars you drive, you realize they are made in Korea. So that is just a modern way, the modern lifestyle. It's not like we are trying to be American. The real part of it is when you try, is the part where you try to say, I'm creating this thing, but I want to have it attached without using my own identity to be a to say, hey, to be you're trying to be more American. There are many Liberians out here who, when you ask them, they say, "Oh yeah, I'm American," and that's it. They don't want.
Some people are just more Americanized than
Yeah,
others, and
yeah,
that's also fine. And
yeah,
that leads to individuality, and people are individuals, and that's also fine. The country club thing again is individual. I would say that doesn't mean because I don't wear country club, I don't know my culture. That
mm,
could be somebody who say, "Oh, I don't like palm butter. I don't eat greens. I don't eat all this Liberian food." That does not make them less of Liberian just because they don't eat it. It
yeah,
is same thing as applicable to the cloth. Just because I don't wear cloth, as you guys can see, I'm in my suit, doesn't make me less of a Liberian.
yeah. Yep, that's true. They say
But
actions.
again, when you go back to that, there
Yeah,
are still some people to that point that don't know the historical context of you know of their country, or perhaps what people eat there, what clothes they wear, what dialects, what there are some people still who don't know about the country,
yeah,
and those people are out there. Um, we can help improve our country one person at a time if that makes sense.
yep,
Again, I agree. If many of us could take the initiative to engage in this country, a lot would improve.
yeah,
And we work as a collective, a lot will also improve. And so, I mean,
and that's
we hope.
where the patriotism will come in, because if
Love
we
for country.
love a country, if we all can value each other in the sense of we are all Liberian, we have respect for each other, we are putting Liberia first. No matter our differences, we can still say, you know why, Liberia is our country. I mean, that's what patriotism is about. Even in the United States here, whenever something happens, Americans have their differences, Democrat, Republican, other days. But at the end of the day, when something happened, for example, 9/11 happened, they were all together. It was never about because you are black, you are white. It was they all worked together on that day because it was all about America. You know, they have that political issue here too. Election time, somebody said Russia got involved, this guy involved. Nobody ever took gun to start shooting all over the place for, to start civil war. They all decided to let it go, and you know, so for me, I think those are real patriotism, like this decision to say, you know why, this happened, let me let it go for the sake of Liberia. and we all can do the same thing. Let's work together for the sake of Liberia to promote our country. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna name my channel um, CNN Liberia. BBC, BBC
So she was responding to, her initial point, and so she said, "I'm not talking in that context, sir." And then we have, okay, man of the champion, mindset of a champion. I totally agree with your point. We are losing our culture and traditions, all in the name of globalization. Yeah, I do. One thing I admire about the Nigerians, and of course, these are based on occasions. And in reference to the clothing, they do tend to wear the traditional clothes when they come to events. And honestly, I wish a lot of us, again, let me just speak for myself. I wish I was like that. But again, just a place, the time and place for everything. I don't think I have lost my culture just because I don't wear certain garments, or I decide I don't want to eat palm butter today. I'm going to eat potato again tomorrow. So now, oh, I don't eat all Liberian food, therefore I'm not Liberian. I hope that's not the context in which this fellow is speaking. Um, you're not losing your culture just because you're adapting.
yeah,
Adaptation is not losing of culture.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah,
Right. I'm
go ahead.
listening to culture. Some of us, when we are talking to other people, we speak certain way. Does not mean we don't want to be Liberian. If I was speaking
Right.
Kolo, that I would speak to Zawadi M off air. I mean, like talking on the phone with Stefan on off air, and I'm speaking Kolokwa. I
My
can
people, yeah,
I
hello.
do the same thing to my American friend. I will adapt to the way they speak so that they can understand me. If I would go, hey, my man, Kaya, man, we that work together today. You think that they will understand me? It's not gonna be like that. This is I don't want to be Liberian or I'm losing my Liberian. I'm losing everything, but it's just the idea. Sometimes you have to adapt. If you're going to work here in LA, sometimes you want to dress based on how to adapt to the culture here, and that's just the modern way of doing things. Even the Chinese, the other people that believe in their culture, they do that too. They wear different clothes, jacket
They
chain.
wear different clothes, they eat different food, but that doesn't mean they forget the foundation of the culture. And I hope we are not only talking in context of clothing
Yeah,
and even food. I would say culturally, you are to respect your elders, and that maybe just could be my home, my Liberian home. To respect elders, whenever you see them, you greet them. You don't pass by an elder. You don't walk past your elder without saying hello to them. Is it a Liberian thing? Is it an African thing? Or perhaps is it my home training that my parent gave me? So, I, I mean, uh, we like you said, we adapt. That doesn't mean we are not carrying with us our culture or how we feel about our culture. Some of the things that we identify within our culture. Being modern doesn't mean we want to be westernized.
well,
That's another point,
I
I
would
guess.
say you got a point there, but how I speak to other people, it's not how I speak to my Liberian. So that means I'm not westernized. When I'm sitting areas, I dress the way based on the occasion. That doesn't mean I'm westernized. However, those Liberians who will try to claim to be American, they start speaking certain way. When you even ask them, are you from Liberia? Do you have a Liberian
They are Americanized,
the
okay?
Americanized. So it's the big difference. Some of us here, we came here, we did everything here, but we still preach Liberia. Those that know us out here, they know we are from Liberia. We claim that we want to go back home. We want to be Liberian all the time. Nobody. I have both Liberian. I would say at this point I'm that Liberian American. I accept Liberia. A lot of time when people ask me where you from, Liberia, I don't
Right.
say never say I'm from like the American. I'm an American citizen, even though I have the citizenship. But I never say I'm American. I always say I'm from Liberia. So there's a big difference between being Americanized and just trying to adapt to the place
But
you are.
Jefferson, you'll be fascinated to know a lot of people who just don't even know Liberian culture.
Yeah,
If I were to put 100 people right now and ask them what is Liberian culture, I guarantee you most people don't even know what Liberian culture is.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Many people
Most
don't.
people don't even know what Liberian culture consists of.
Yeah.
Anyway, we
Oh,
move.
because okay, because I know about Liberian, because the person said so. The culture and the tradition of Liberia is not modern.
Yeah, because what the other person was saying, I think in reference to Michael's point, that's the question. He's is his African ancestors. I don't know if you're he or she. Apologize if I said he or she, whatever. Um, so the culture and traditions of Liberia is not modern. That's the question that this person is asking the individual out there. So I wish you could come on this channel to talk. If you would like to come, just give me thumbs
Yeah.
up and you can prove your point.
Yeah.
Um, African ancestors, of course, our culture and traditions are modern. Okay.
Uh,
Let's see here.
mhm.
The culture is not only the outfit, African ancestors. The culture is also the way of life.
Yeah.
Bang, 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 bang.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see here. Today, Liberian can go shop outside and they will see clothes from Mali, Lebanon, Ghana, Ethiopia. You don't see too many clothing shop with Liberian cloth.
But you see
So, as a business person, I have to see what appeal to my market.
that
So
that's
maybe I mean not again. I love my country and I stand all for my country. But if you're speaking in a business context, the first thing as a business person is first, how am I going to make profit?
yeah,
Secondary to that is my social obligations.
yeah,
So if I have a shop and I know within a specific area the population consists of majority Lebanese, my clothing will never be Liberian clothing. I'm sorry
yeah,
to say. That
yeah,
doesn't mean I don't love my country.
yeah.
So I'm going to be appealing to my audience because I need profit. I need to keep my business running, so on and so forth. Now, you don't see too many clothes shop with Liberian clothes. And how many Liberian people want to establish businesses in a place where they don't have a lot of Liberians?
Yeah.
If you go to Minnesota, I saw recently on TV they were showing, it wasn't Minnesota or Philadelphia, one of those two areas, they were showcasing Liberian businesses. Do you know why? Because they have a huge population within that area and the defined target audience are Liberians.
Yeah. Why will you
So
open Liberian store in Anaheim, Orange County, when you can't? If you count the Liberians there, just feel there. Well, how many profit will you make? That's what the M has. She has a point there. Minnesota, there are many Liberians there. So
because the environment calls for it. As a business person, I'm going to assess, okay, if I put this African shop here, I know majority of Liberians live here, I'm going to capitalize on that and gain my profit and then serve them in that way as well. However, I'm not going to go in the middle of Alaska where perhaps the population of Liberians is maybe maybe actually 0.1% and go to open Liberian business there. Somebody probably asked me, am I a school fees with Pepper
yeah,
Kala for you to go
yeah,
over there in the middle of Alaska to go and open Liberian store because you love Liberia?
yeah.
I mean, huh?
Let's just say besides Liberia, will you go open an Indian restaurant somewhere where they don't have Indian population? I mean, what sense does that make? It doesn't make sense because will you open a Mexican restaurant somewhere where they don't have Mexican there? It doesn't make sense because at the end of the day, you're not going to make money. It's not because we love Liberia, so we should also just put money into business that will not do anything. Why can't I give that money? Yeah,
Unless you have defined your brand
yeah,
and have advertised your brand to where people are actually aware of your brand. So
yeah,
even if you establish it in a place where they don't have Liberians, but because people are already aware of your brand and like it, then you can still go buy it. Because for example, Thai food, it's people love Thai food in California here, but that doesn't mean all parts of California here have a big Thai population. But because they branded that food so well,
yeah.
people anywhere, everywhere in this California will go and say, "Oh, I want Thai food," because of the brand. But this is we haven't done that. We
Yeah.
need to clean up our backyard before we
Yeah.
start making noise.
Now, when you open a place in the United States here, you say Ghanaian food. Trust me, there are a lot of people will recognize Ghanaian food because Ghana is a hot place now that people run into. Many people getting to know, even white, black. other people are getting to know places like Ghana. So if you start branding their restaurants and stuff, is something. So in order for us to even start branding these things with Liberia and stuff, we got to really put ourselves in a position where people say, "Oh, Liberia," on a big level.
I think recently I discovered jollof rice in Trader Joe. I don't know how many of these viewers are in areas where they have Trader Joe. Do you know why they have jollof rice? Because Nigerians have already claimed jollof rice.
Yeah,
So when you go to Trader Joe, they said Nigerian jollof
yeah,
in Trader Joe. And guess what? Majority of the people that buy Nigerian jollof in Trader Joe, they're not Nigerians.
yeah,
They're American. But
yeah.
because it's circulated that jollof rice belong to Nigerians, people
Hmm.
now wanting to try. The same is
And when you,
applicable for Liberian Country Club.
yeah,
If you market your stuff right, and then people can buy it. But as a business person, if it impacts my bottom line negatively, I am not gonna do it. So this person says, wearing country club and not having respect for your elders. Okay.
mhm.
Okay. that's
Okay.
like that's Liberian culture.
That's the best time for you to say, yeah, well,
Yeah, well.
that's funny.
Why not practice your culture and traditions in the modern world? Also, I mean, again, to each your own. I personally, when I go to certain churches, I wear my African outfit. That's just me. I eat Liberian food most times. However, when I need to watch my diet, I modify how the big bowl of palm butter rice I can have versus if I need to eat a lot of kale or not. It's just these things are just based on where you are in your life as well. That doesn't mean you've forgotten your food. I can sit here and cook palm butter for you. I may not even eat it. That doesn't mean I don't value my food, but maybe I don't want to gain a lot of weight. I don't know.
I
It's
just
it's
went,
just
yeah, I just went to the Liberian place there and buy all these tabogi and thing and palava sauce, everything. I've been eating it for months. That doesn't mean so that I like Liberia. I'm not trying to be somebody else. Yeah, I don't know. I think yeah. Anyway,
you digress. Yeah,
yeah,
that is critical of the young people today. They want to be American or they want to be Liberian. Hmm? It shouldn't be that way. The Liberian is not produced on a large scale. You highly find it in Liberia. You are correct. Okay, at least we are all getting somewhere. Whether we agree to disagree. I think
yep.
a good discussion is always warranted. Anyway, so in conclusion, here, leadership or lack of leadership to me is causing issues in our country. By leadership, I mean the example have to be set from the top and the trickle down. If my leader here is not setting examples, there's no motivation to do any better. I'm sorry to say. If you have a leader within an organization who says don't be on your phone doing meetings and the leader is on their phone, it doesn't work
Yeah,
because there's no example. That you're not leading by example, you're not being a model.
yeah,
So our problems in Liberia need to be addressed from a leadership perspective. And I'm not talking about political leadership. I'm not talking about those who are just president or those who are senators and all of that. If you are a private entity, you need to lead by example.
yeah,
If you are a government, somebody in government, you need to lead by what? Example. If you are on the local level, you also need to lead by example. But if you are not leading by example, this is where my second point, accountability, needs to come in. When people are not held accountable, they can just run rampant and do whatever. But if we lead and hold people accountable, trust me, we will have a system. But because none of these things are happening, there is no system. There's no system. So that's what when we sit and go to bed and talk, look at these videos, look at our country, go to the country. If you're trying to change things, you cannot keep doing what people do there.
Yeah.
It will have to start with you.
Yeah.
All right. The Liberian Country Club is not produced on a large scale.
Let
You
people
can
really
hardly find it
stress.
in Liberia. We can only promote it when it's available. Perfect.
Let
Maybe
people.
we'll get it from China. Excuse me?
I see the people really serious about their country club.
They lapa, bagua lapa, people are very serious about it. And
Yeah.
maybe that defines Liberian culture. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, out of all the other things, who the hell I didn't block this person. Oops, I have no clue who that is. Okay. These issues, I would say, are holding our country back.
Yeah.
And so if we are looking to transform our country, we need to start looking at the root cause. That's how you solve issues. To find the root cause will allow you to derive at the solution.
That's true. That is true. I think, yeah,
So
that people that have this kind of mindset that you have, you will see the big difference. I mean, that's why I was talking about, the leadership has something to do. You got to lead by example and make sure you can talk about your employees should have better customer service at the restaurant. But then when you
but you
answer,
don't.
you start saying, "Who is it? I mean, you don't get money. Don't call me." You be saying that kind of stuff. If somebody asks you how much for the room for the hotel room, maybe you get money. I mean, how will your employee even learn? Even here, when you go to a place, they'll say, "Hey, sir, how can I help you, sir?" Even if they see the homeless man, they call him sir. The guy who clothes so dirty, they still call him sir. How may I help you? Thank you for coming. Even if you don't buy something, but when you go somewhere, maybe you from Lokita. So I mean, so you as a leader, in front of your employee, you need to learn how to answer the phone, and then you can teach your employee the same way. That leadership situation will need to people need to really lead by example. The patriotism is where you can really value all Liberians. We all can work together. We all can put our country first. It's all about putting Liberia first and say, you know why? This is not, it shouldn't just be about me. It shouldn't just be about, I'm in Liberia, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but I'm living my life. I live in these big houses, but what am I doing too to really make the difference for the country? Don't have the mindset that says Liberia did not give me nothing. So why should I do something for the country? I mean, it's not about what the country gave you. So I think that patriotism, we need to teach people that because that would change a lot in Liberia. Liberians, I mean, we will change our country in no time. When a Ghanaian has money, they want to build a house in their country. That's the real patriotism. They want to make a difference in a country. They are Ghanaian millionaire, because they invested in their own country and enjoying the life, but also giving people jobs. The other part, the legacy will help
You
us.
love legacy, huh?
I like legacy because for me, I want to have my legacy a time goes by. I want to have certain legacy. If I have a Liberian TV network as a major television station in Liberia, in Africa, or something globally known, that's I build my legacy. But it's from Liberia. It's a TV station that is recognized. It is in Liberia. If I build something, maybe some sport complex, it's that's my legacy. But it's also will create a lot of job for people. So I think people that want to have legacy, they are not just thinking about, even if I was president of Liberia, for example, I'm not gonna do things just to so that people can vote me next time. I will do
Mm,
things because I want people to remember me.
mm, mm, mm,
So for
mm,
me,
mm.
that's just how we can develop Liberia. If people start thinking these things, I'm not doing this thing, putting one or two things here. I'm not talking about somebody right now. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying that if I was president of Liberia, I won't do things so people can vote me the next time. I would do things because I want to have legacy so they can say this thing happened when this guy was president. Under his administration, Liberia was sweet Liberia again. I mean, those are the kind of stuff that we need to start thinking about. Than trying to say, "Oh, I want to do this so my opposition can see what I'm doing." There will be no idea the opposition stuff. It will be more about doing something to change Liberia in general. So, legacy,
I agree.
patriotism,
I
all goes
agree.
together. Yeah,
Uh, I highly, highly, highly agree.
yeah.
Agree to that. As my good friend always says, a good name is better than million and million and million and gold, silver and gold, whatever. But then I always joke and say, well, so you rather have a good name than to have money to feed yourself, and that become a different
I
conversation.
think
But
you can.
I mean, absolutely,
Yeah, I think you can do
the
both though. You can do both. You can be like JP Morgan, Rockefeller, all these guys. They got their legacy, left legacy behind, but they become super rich, and became people who built America. You know, you can do both. But if you're doing it and not screwing people, I think you will die peacefully, and still have your legacy. Yeah,
but the rich wants to get richer,
that's true.
and sometimes it's a very slippery slope.
That's true.
Anyway, customer service issues. Yes, you did mention customer service issue. I mean, it's just for businesses, it's very vital, but it's something that people don't pay attention to. It's very, very important. Um, we need to first of all start from our home, start with our kids. Honesty is an issue in our country. Absolutely, I understand that point. Um, So, what are we doing to make that practical? Good leadership, or is it just for awareness purposes? Either way, it's good, but we need to start building up our country itself. For me, one of my companies that I run in Liberia, I was doing a performance review today. I do 6 months performance, like every 6 months, I do performance reviews with my staff. And as I was reviewing with him, and he said, but you marked this in communication. And I said, yeah, because your communication have been excellent. Not 100%, but your communication have been excellent. And he pretty much said, boss lady, I learned from you. Because the thing is, as you're leading people, they are watching what you're doing. So if you continue to follow what it is that you've said or you have included in your policies, you're doing what it is that you need to do. That staff is not only learning, but they're implementing. They're not learning just for to sit there for decoration, but they're learning to implement, which then will help your business become even more sustainable and develop well. But the leadership needs to be there. You need to be the leader, not just talk about things. You need to walk the walk, show people what needs to be done. It's just very important. Um, we have a huh? Commodify food. Okay, we have to commodify our rice, cocoa. Look at look at rich countries. Okay, look at rich countries like Belgium. They've come to collect the cocoa from Ghana ports. Yes. Ghanaian people today recycle plastic into bricks to build homes. I mean, manufacturing and production is something that we need to again address in our country. But how I mean, we don't need to wait for certain leadership people in leadership position to do those things. We in the diaspora, or we like wherever we are, can do these things. So if you are just talking about, you know, plastic to breaks and cocoa, all of these things can also be done by individuals, private citizens, collective individuals coming together to get these things done. Again, private sector, there is the reason why they have private sector. A lot of these businesses that we see here as well, they're not government owned. They're really not government owned. So consider that. So I'm in the US, but my whole heart is in Liberia. My heart too. In my Liberian voice. Okay, I'm in Liberia. I'm in the US, but my whole heart in Liberia. Anyway, we move. Um thank you, my brother and sister. You are helping around Liberia and impersonating many Liberians today. God bless you. Thank you. Lead
Thank
by
you. The
example.
guy, a mindset of a champion. Mindset of a champion. Um,
Mindset of a champion,
yeah,
yeah.
he's one of those people being involved tonight. So I hope there's a big
Very,
shout.
very involved. Very shout
Yeah,
out. Very, 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 very involved.
yeah,
And some of these conversations is not just meant for formality. Okay,
yeah.
it's not meant for formality in actuality. Somebody's gonna watch this video and just take one thing out of what we've said here today. So I mean, we're not coming on here to just say, oh yeah, we want to talk on it because we have nothing to do. Somebody will be inspired to take that plane ride to Liberia to say, I haven't been back home in years. Let me go and see how can I really contribute. This is what is most important here. Lead by example, absolutely. Um, girl, I am so my staff always say, boy lady, you always say customers are always right. And I said, let me ask you something. Let us just have a meeting. If the customer don't buy your goods, how will you get paid? Just tell me. And then we get into that. And then they say, yeah, you're right, you're right. And so practical examples. That's the reason why customer is always right. I'm not saying when customers spit in your face, they are right. But you must go hit them back. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to let you know is that you are your business. There are multiple businesses the customer can go. They can go to different businesses to go buy them. But your approach could change a customer mind from going to this person, even if your goods are expensive. But
Yeah.
because the way you approach that customer, they will always want to come back to you. And that's why when you're looking at customer, you have to understand they are the foundation of your business. The customer pay you, and that's how you get paid. Therefore, you need to abide. And so setting example is very important in your organization, people. I'm telling you. When I had to suspend one of my staff recently, suspend them for 2 weeks because of a customer complaint. Oh, this staff is so good. Why, but lady, had to suspend, and I had to go back to my policy that I've already set in place, and I have to go back to the thing that the customer is the one paying for you. And then we had to correct that from suspension to going back to reading policy and reviewing policy and going back to it. But it starts with leadership, and things need to be followed through on. And so these are the things that we need to start doing as leaders, as people who have organizations, or even if they're nonprofit or businesses. We need to lead by example. So we shall end this here. I love this conversation. If anyone wants to come on live, just email me. And the next time I'm having something like this, you can definitely come on to talk. Liberian TV CEO Jefferson Sagba. Um, Thank you so much for joining. I know you're so passionate about this country, and I am too. I'm just sometimes just tune certain people out of the media and go by my business. But Liberia is so dear to my heart because, as I always say, a house is not a home. Liberia, however, is your home, and so you can travel all around the globe. By the end of the day, you will remember where exactly you came from.
Yeah.
And that's Liberia. And so if the outlook of Liberia and everything else is good, you smile. If somebody say the poorest country, you bend your head down. The decision is yours. We move. Okay, guys, take care. It has been a pleasure speaking with all of you. And I hope you have a pleasant night. Peace out.
Yeah, bye bye, people.
Yo, bye bye, oh my people. Yo, bye bye. Yo, good night, man.
Country-
You don't snore too much, man.
the countryman had to go to sleep. Yeah, me, I'll snow tonight. You'll be like rocket.
Don't break the people war now. Bye bye. We move.